Good night. Here with us tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma J. Spears. I'm here to give you a little show news and a word on tonight. We're gonna talk about Fulton County jail. Shown Delmore, the 10 person, to die, at the facility, so far, this year in 2023. So the condition inside, the Fulton County jail, in Atlanta, was where Mr. Former Donald Trump was at, you know, and his defenders was there. So where receivingly booked, 10 prisoner, have now died, in the prison custody, just this year, the latest on Sunday. So Delmore had been incarcerated for 5 months, before he was found, in a cell dead. He was that was on August 31st. On this year, 23. Delmore family is demanding answers. As to why previously healthy 24-year-old was so suddenly suffered from arrest and calling for any immediate investigation into the condition at the jail. So which is already under federal investigation. So they're investigating this. He's a 10 person that was dead. And they're saying he was very healthy. And then all of a sudden, he was dead. And so they're investigating because he's the 10 person, that died. And then they said 2 years ago, this same thing was happening. And, have not been investigated, but they're investigating now because the family needs some answers. They need answers. So three other family have died at the jail in the past 2 years. You know, so the past 2 years, the same thing had happened. But they never looked into it. So we see it may be bad condition in the jail. So we also, also 2 years, ago, been having the same thing. People dying in the jail. Delmore, was a 10 person that died, and his family looking for answers because they're saying he was healthy. So I understand a person's in jail, because they did a crime. But we still have to keep, up with the condition in the facility. So one, the area has to, be clean. Two, they should have, good drinking water. Three, 2 meals a day. Four, the AC should be working at all times. So these are the conditions should maintain at all time in a prison. So I don't know what kind of condition it was in, but it say it had bad condition, so we know they are criminal, but they are still y'all still responsible for that body that's placed in that facility. Even though they did crime, we still don't need to treat them, like rag. So you still have to take responsibility, when they place in your facility. So I request that these conditions maintain at all times. The condition I had named, keeping it clean, have good drinking water, have 2 meals a day. Because I remember, last year I spoke on a lot on starvation. They wasn't feeding them enough. So we need to feed them at least twice, 2 or 3 times a day. AC should be working. Remember at one time, they would die because the AC was broke. So these are the conditions it needs to be maintained at all times. It needs to be working. So that's the news on that. So we talking about the book of Esther. I have 4 books. We're trying to get to Haman, Impaled, Monica. But the table will turn. So first we're gonna talk about Esther request to the king. And Monica had told her, make a request to the king. And when you're making a request, make sure you begging that your life is on the line. So he's saying go plead for your life. So this one gonna come from Esther chapter 5 verse 1 to 8. Now Esther's about to give her request to the king. On the third day, Esther put her royal robe on and stood in the anchor court of the palace. Now in front of the king's house, the king was sitting on his throne, you know, in the hall facing the entrance. The third day after fasting, Esther in power, put on her robe, ready to meet with the king. She getting prepared, getting all in power. So when the king saw his beauty queen standing, he was pleased with her and held out to her gold scepter, that was in hand. So Esther approached and touched the tip of it. So now remember, Esther had fast. No eating, no drinking, but she also prayed. Esther remind us that God hear and act on our prayers. So we ask God to give us grace, and mercy. I know I say that all the time. Thank you for your grace and your mercy. In a situation, we have to pray. I told you I've been putting out a lot about prayers, the power of prayer, the persistence of prayer. You know, um, in a situation, that you're dealing with, you always got to put prayer in it. God got to be a part of our life. So we always got to pray on any situation that this thing might be difficult, dangerous, or whatever. God can do the impossible. So you got to keep prayer in our life on anything we have to go through. So in a situation we have to pray. Esther got her mind together. She did a spiritual fast, for 3 days. Now before she approached the king with her request. So when the king had asked, "What is Queen?" Queen Esther, he asked her, "What you see? See, your partner, he or she'll know, what's the matter with you? He'll know. So even up to a half, to kingdom, it will be given to us." So he said, "Whatever you need." Whatever you need or whatever is going on, it will be granted to you. So now the king ready to grant it, but has not said, she wanted yet. She never told him yet. So Esther had not tell him. You see, Esther kind of slow of doing things, but she gonna get it done. It took her 30 days and had never talked to the king yet. Then took another 3 days to do a spiritual fast, but she gonna get it done. She is a little slow, but she will get it done. So Esther had not tell him the request yet. But her plan, but she planning a banquet. She planning a banquet and wants to invite, Haman to come to this banquet. That she want to prepare for him. But King did what she asked, and Haman went while the banquet was going on, and asked again. So he started asking her, because she told him, "I got a request," but she not telling him what the request is. So you know, Esther want a request to be tomorrow. So let the king Haman come, fulfill tomorrow to the second banquet, and then I will answer the question. I will answer the question then. And she's still not gonna tell him. So it go on to Haman rage against Mordecai at the banquet. Esther chapter 5, 9 to 14. So now the king are still waiting on Esther to give her request. Now this will be gonna be the first banquet. So Haman had went out that day. That's something. He came out to the banquet happy. Full of joy. And in high spirit. But when he saw Mordecai, that he got so much anger, towards Mordecai. Now he left out his house, his palace, happy, full of joy, full of spirit, But when he saw Monica, at the king gate, observing that he neither rose nor showed fear in his presence, and see, that's something, See, he ordered to kill Monica, ordered to kill Monica. So now he's saying that why he don't look in fear when he see me, because I'm about to kill him. I'm about to put him on that pole, and see, that's how it is. The devil always wants you to be in fear. When you're not in fear, they're enraged. He enraged because he placed this on him, and he don't look like he in fear. So he like, why you not in fear? He was filled with rage against Mordecai. So Haman was so consumed with hatred, towards Mordecai that he could not even enjoy honor being invited to Esther's party. He couldn't enjoy himself. Remember he left his house happy for the spirit. But when he saw Monica, he saw being filled out with hatred. So he couldn't even enjoy the rest of the party. So Haman had built up hatred in his heart that you will find it backfiring against you. And it will. You can't have that much hatred in you, towards someone. It can always backfire. So nevertheless, Haman restrained himself, went home, and King had honored him and how he had elevated. Now he talking about all his glories. So he talking about how, the king had honored him, how the king elevated him above all the others, So we don't know why he just started, talking about the glory of his life, But Haman had recounted the glory of his riches, how he got honor, and elevate him above others, So now, Haman noticed, so after he got to honor the glory of his riches and everything, and now he noticed, that he is the only person at this banquet. He like, how Esther invite me to a party and I'm the only one that's there. So he noticed, that Esther invite him to the banquet, and there's no one there but him. He in so much anger, so he just realized he the only one at the banquet. So but all this give, me no satisfaction as all. I'm seeing Monica over there. First, he like nobody at this party. Then I'm seeing Monica over there. This don't make no sense for me. So I need to just go home. I'm not having no fun. I'm just angry. Because he's standing over there. You invite me to a party. There's no one here. So now he just mad. He in anger, and he just taking anger out everywhere. So now Haman's wife, now the wife and his friends, said to him, have you set up the pole that reaching to 50 cubit high, and ask the king in the morning to have Monica impaled on it. Now that is being evil, and so Haman wasn't worried about that too much. But now the wife and the friend won't bring it up to his attention. Did you set up the pole, for Monica for tomorrow? He gonna be set up on a 50 high pole. Now they reminded him of this evilness that Haman had plotted for Monica. And so after they remind him, then they're gonna have about you go with the king to the banquet and you enjoy yourself. Because they see how mad he is. They're mad with Monica, so that's why they're going to bring it up. You mad and angry with him, but you just set up that pole for him. You set up that pole when, then you go ahead on to the banquet with the king and enjoy yourself. So having family and friends who was ignorant as he was, suggested that the pole be 50 cubit high, then this is evil. They want to make sure, that all the people of the city, saw Mordecai dead and will be reminded of consequences of disobeying Haman. That this tall and prominent pole later allowed everyone to see Haman dead publicly at this banquet. Esther still not give the request to the king yet, and we also see that there will be another banquet. We also see that Haman and friends, remind him of the death of Monica. Now, why would you remind somebody of a death of somebody? So they're evil, just like Haman. So we come into the finished book of Esther, not the finished book of Esther, the finished book of Haman posted Impaled on Monica. So Haman Empire, but the table Monica, but the table will turn. Esther chapter 7, verse 1 through 10. Now this story of Haman wants to empower Monica because he is Jews and Haman is an Ammonite and they don't like each other. So Jews he have hate in his heart towards them, but the table will turn, because you can't have too much hate in your heart, for someone like that. So we also will talk about Esther in the right position for the right situation to save her people. Esther answer her calling. She didn't know she had a calling. But she answered. She did not say no. Now this is the second. This is the second banquet. This is the second banquet for the king and Haman went to Esther to Esther banquet. Haman had went to the banquet ready to drink wine. And as they was drinking wine on this second day, the king again asked Queen Esther, "What is your additional petition?" Still asking Esther a request. She taking so long to get a request. All he want to do is grant you your request. Anything you ask for, you got it. So Esther answered. Now she ready. She ready to tell him. She ready to tell him her request now. So Esther answered. If I have found, favor with you, and it pleases you, grant me my life. This is my petition. And save my people. This is my request. Now she finally told him his request. She said, save her life, spare her people, and this is her request. For I and my people have been sold to be destroyed, killed, humiliated. And if we had merely had been sold as made a female slave, I would have kept quiet. So now, because no such distress was justify disturbing the king. Now he was very disturbed when Esther had told him that. Now anytime my queen gonna tell me to save my life, he's very disturbed with that. So Esther finally told king, everything, even that she is a Jew, and so what she, so now she had told the king that he was very disturbed. He was so disturbed, so the king disturbed and had asked Esther, who is he? Where is he? It's a man who had dared to do such a thing. And he just said, no, it's a person right under your nose. Now he like, who is this person? Who do such a thing like this? They're talking about, killing my baby queen. Who is this person? So Esther stated the evil man is Haman. Haman was terrified before the king and the queen. So Haman got up in rage, left his wine and went out into the palace garden. Now Haman realized that the king had already decided. He already know that he decided. So he stayed behind to beg Esther for his life. Now, he stood behind. Remember, he was in the garden. He thought he was, he was supposed to be going home. But he hung around Esther, to beg Esther for his life. So Haman is wicked, wants to kill Esther, and all her people, Jews, you know, so having know that king know and begging Esther for his life. And he was gonna try to kill Esther too. Now he need Esther to save his life. So when the king returned from the palace to the banquet, Haman was falling on the couch where Esther was reclining. Now, now he now the king don't know what's going on. Now he think so. The king, is claiming where he even, molesting my queen. Why is she with me in the house? So he thinking he molesting his wife. As soon as the word left, the king mouth, they covered Haman's face. They covered his face. Now the king thought he was molesting Queen Esther, but all the while he was just clinging to her for his life. So they put the cover. They covered his face. So the king, came to the palace. And Haman on a couch alone with Esther, and King think he trying to molest his queen in his face. But really he was begging for his life. To Esther. Now King attended. Covered Haman's face to be placed. Over the face of someone condemned to death. So his attendants. The king said, a pole reaching to a height of 50 cubits tall, stand by Haman's house. So he had, said it. He said it. Remember his family, his wife, they had told him, did you set that up? Did you set up for Monica? So he set this up for Monica, who spoke up to help the king, but the table, we will see the table will turn. He set that pole up for Monica, So the king said, impale him on it. So they impale Haman on a pole that he set up for Monica, and then the king society. You see what I'm saying? So the table had turned. He had so much hatred towards his heart, towards Monica. He set this pole 50 feet tall but killed Monica. But that same pole that he planted and set up for Monica, the king said put him on that pole. So the evilness of him, to prepare a gallant for a man before he was accused of any crime. Now he didn't even set Monica up to for in front of the judge to accuse his case. He just automatically I'm gonna put you to death. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. I'm going to put you there. They said he set that up, but before accused him for any crime. He ain't had no crime. He ain't did no crime. But he set that up for his death. To the king of condemned, so the table had turned. The same pole Haman had set up for Monica. The king said put Haman on that same pole. Haman had hatred in his heart towards all Jews. So God intervened because the Jews, all the Israelite God people. Now he was not he was not gonna let them destroy his people. Esther was at the right, Esther was right what God had wanted her to be. She was at the right place, what God wanted her to be. All the Jews were saved. They all were saved. Mordecai's life was saved. All the people life was saved. So Esther got in a position and she was at the right place and at the right time for the right situation. God put everything in place, and we see that God plans to succeed because all the Israelites was saved. Monica and Esther life was saved. So God's plan was fulfilled in this matter. So that's all I have for you today. We can never dig, a hole for someone else because the table will always turn. He had so much anger towards, and that's another thing I talked about 3 or 4 days ago. We got to stop having so much hatred in our hearts to someone. We got to stop having hatred in our heart towards someone. It only leads you to this kind of situation here. What happened? He left out his house happy. And when he saw a particular person, he had so much anger and hatred, and then he's setting up a pole for someone. Did not, had let him, set his pinnacle, did not set it up, for a crime or anything. He have not done a crime. He have not done anything, but the race that he are, that's the reason why he wants to kill him. you know, and so Esther was at the right position at the right time. You know, God set everything in motion and everything worked out fine. You know, God people were saved, Monica and Esther life was saved. So that's all. And we talk about the prison. We talk about the prison. Delmore was the 10th person that died in the jailhouse, and they said we don't know what kind of condition it was, but they said it was a condition of the facility in the jailhouse. So I had requests for these conditions to maintain on a regular basis. Keep the area clean. They should have good drinking water. Three meals a day. The AC should be working. So I request that all these things should be working. So they investigate to find out, why they is dying in a jailhouse. Something had to be going on in a jailhouse for them to just be dying left and right like that. So that's all I have for you tonight. Y'all have a blessed, safe night, and I see y'all on the next video.